with any of my dye sessions, what I like to do, and I think it's actually very beneficial, is take notes. They're like doing science experiments, and if you don't take notes, you don't remember what you've done or what time of year it was, where you got your plant fibre from, and some of the colours are so similar you kind of don't remember. So I have taken notes. This is my second book that I've got here, and I do take notes when I do a fresh batch of dye. So this was the one we did with Doc, and you can see that, and I've got the information written down and the modifiers that I've used, so washing soda, vinegar, copper and iron. So what I've done here is, this is the most recent one I've done, and then I've just compared it with one that I did a while ago, which was in 2021, and this was in the spring, whereas this one is in late summer. So you can see how different that colour is. So that's really interesting. This is the prunus we did, and the greys and greens that we've got using the different modifiers, the low cut leaves, and then I've also put the low cut leaves here, which was the overnight, and I think that's worth showing. So this is the first time I've ever used low cut leaves in my dyeing. I did a batch of cochineal a couple of weeks ago. That was really exciting. This is my eucalyptus leaves that I did recently. Again, nice rich rusty colour here. So any blue eucalyptus leaves usually gives you a deeper rust. This is a forest pansy which I used from the neighbour's garden. That's quite an interesting colour. And then the tea that I did. So these are really interesting. So I've kept the labels from my tea and then just shown which ones give good colour. So tea is great because it has natural tannins in, and you can really experiment with them. And because they've got natural tannins in, they will actually hold their dyes a lot better than dyes that don't have natural tannins in. Here are, this was a couple of years ago, so rhubarb oxalis. Now oxalis is an interesting one, really bright, almost like fluorescent. So that's an interesting one, and often I'll pick the flowers, so they're a weed. I'll pick the flowers in early spring, and if I haven't got time to use them, I'll put them in the freezer, and often I'll have them in there for a couple of years before I actually use them. So if you've got space in your freezer. Acorns. So acorns is good to use as a tannin and then to over dye with a different colour. Silver Princess, that's a eucalyptus. And I've actually planted the eucalyptus Silver Princess in my garden specifically for this purpose, for dyeing. Goldenrod. And because I've used wool here, which is a protein fibre, it takes the dye much better. So you get much richer colours if you use a protein fibre, so wool or silk. Now this is interesting because this is red cabbage, and it's great fun to use, but it's not very substantive. So the dye will actually wash away, which is called a fugitive dye, except the copper here is really interesting. So look at that blue. So the rest is faded. I have had better colours, but that's not particularly good. Avocado, again I was comparing this to the low cut, which is similar. Actually I think I prefer this. That's a really lovely, kind of almost like a tangerine-y kind of colour. and Eucalyptus cinerea, really rich colours, and that will hold its dye well. Just some gun nuts that I did from a neighbour's garden. Blackberries, again, this doesn't hold its dye very well, it's very fugitive, but it's good to play with these colours. Passion fruit, again, I got better results when so this was one that I did and I only soaked for an hour, and this one I left overnight, so I got much better results leaving that overnight. Again, I don't think that's very substantive, so unless you're using a good post modifier, then you probably won't get very good results. But this is a really nice colour. So this one's got iron and this one's copper. That was one very wishy-washy. Black beans, again, is lovely to play with, but a fugitive dye, so it doesn't last very long. Oxalis, amazing colour. Acorns, so acorns you can use as a dye, and look at this beautiful dark grey using with the iron, but you can use it as a tannin. So if you soak it in a bath of a natural tannin, so acorns, and you don't need to have as much in as what I've got here, but that will actually help fix the dye as well as using your aluminium acetate. Rosemary kind of seems to do better when you do the post modifiers in the copper or the iron. Eucalyptus cinerea, fabulous with a protein fibre, so silk or wool, you'll get a really deep rich colour, but these are really nice colours too. Buddleia, now this is a nice colour, this is really buttery, and you get a darker green here when you use the iron. And goldenrod again. So I have two books like this, but it's always good to go through them and just compare them. If you do the same plant fibre or ingredients, it's always good to compare what you might get another time, and I have done that a few times, so they're good experiments to do. So keep your notes, keep your bits of fabric labelled so that you know what they are, and you can compare them when you do more dyeing with similar plants and know which ones you like the best and how you did it.